If you've been around the channel for a while, you might have noticed some things change a little bit lately. Things have started to look a little bit different. So I thought it might be a good time to do a realistic, relatable, and slightly attainable YouTube studio tour. So welcome to the new studio. I know for me, I've always enjoyed watching studio tours, stuff like Marques Brownlee's, Parker Warbeck, Landon By The Way, but there was always something that felt a little bit out of reach. Not sure what it was.
This was $250,000.
So as someone who works as a one-man band working out of a spare bedroom in my house, I wanted to make a tour that kind of shows you something that might feel within reach. It's attainable, something you can design yours around or do something similar to, or just something that you can grow into and create over time. So let's start at the desk, but before we do, hit it. This is not a disclaimer, this is a disclaimer, because Desky has chosen to sponsor the start of this video by providing some products to be featured throughout. I didn't get paid, but I do get to keep the product, so do with that what you will. This is my Desky dual motor sit stand desk. Now this is 3 years old. This is the Acacia colorway, which I personally think looks fantastic, but let me show you what 3 years of wear and tear on the Acacia colorway actually looks like. So over there where my laptop sits and here where some cameras do quite often get put down, there are some bumps and bruises. And I should mention the finger braille down here is from me tapping away and banging my wedding ring. I just cannot stop playing the finger drums. Any wooden surface you put something sharp on or drop something heavy on, you're gonna get some dents, you're gonna get some bruises, and what workstation doesn't have some battle scars? Anyway, like I said, I've been using this desk for 3 years now and it's been absolutely fantastic for just my work, it looks great, but also for the health of my body. I'm not gonna lie to you, 85 to 90% of the time, I'm seated. That's my choice. I like sitting down, but when I have needed to because of my back and I need to stand up, I can stand up and work at the desk and not have to stop working or be hunched over. And maybe if I made a more conscious effort to stand more often, my back wouldn't be in the place it is, so that's something for me to think about. Now, as I said, Desky is sponsoring this portion of the video, and they've sent over a few accessories to make my desk life a little bit easier. First up, these matching Acacia drawers. A, they look fantastic, but B, they also help keep my desk feeling super clean because all the things I need super often are in one convenient location off the desk. This one is full of SSDs, and this one is full of stationery and other things, because I'm a dad now. If you're going to get a desk, I highly recommend getting at least one drawer. Next up, Desky sent me these matching headphone and phone holders, which both look fantastic, but they're also highly functional because it keeps the things I need all the time just within reach. I'm particularly fond of this guy here. Having a solid phone stand is actually super handy and something I didn't actually think would be as handy as it is. You do need to buy the Apple wireless charger for it, so once I got that, you stick this guy on there, your phone's MagSafe on, it's charging, it's not going anywhere, which is absolutely fantastic because it means I can leave my screen unlocked, I can be working away, tapping away at the computer, and I can be referencing notes or taking a call, having it on speakerphone, and not having to worry about my battery if I need to go out later on in the day. But if I'm being honest, what I'm doing most of the time is I'm working in landscape. I'm watching the NBA, I'm watching Joe Rogan, I'm watching Uncensored by Brandon Washington, or even Friends of Benedict's back in the day, but they didn't bring that back. This is probably one of the most functional things I have on this desk. I hate the fact that the industry that I work in relies so heavily on social media, and I hate the amount of time that I personally spend on it, trying to, a lot of the time, justifying it. Oh, it's work related, but I hate being on there, but you have to do it, and it drains your battery flat all the time. Having this means that I don't have to have my phone plugged in. It keeps a little bit of clutter off the desk, but I don't have to worry about my phone being flat when I go out at night and stuff like that. So huge tick of approval from me. Try not to get distracted, do your work, people. But I've also done a little customization to the desk. I've drilled in my own hook. I've got a hat because you never know when it's going to get sunny inside. I've got my headphone case and I've got a massage gun because your boy works pretty hard. This is the workstation. This is the Apple MacBook Pro 16-inch M1 Max. Fully spec'd out, other than the SSD, I went for a 2TB. Boy, do I wish I went for at least 4. If you're not on Apple Silicon yet and you're thinking about it, you're only wasting your own time. It's pretty crazy to think that you can run a production company off one 16-inch laptop, which not only that, a 4-year-old laptop at that. But my only qualm with this is the size, 16-inch, I love it. However, for travel, it's just a bit too big. It takes up the whole tray table. I'm already trying not to get into other people's, hips with my elbows as it is. Try typing on it, it's just not very convenient for travel. So my future plans entail getting a 14-inch MacBook Pro for field transfers, travel, all that sort of stuff, and then having a Mac Studio in the studio as it would be. I also use Apple's keyboard and the trackpad because trackpads are the best thing ever. So much better than mouse. If you haven't used one before, you are missing out. I don't want to hear any hate, don't knock it till you rock it. The monitor that I use for all my editing is this guy. This is an old Acer Predator. It's a 34-inch curved screen, and those dimensions are absolutely perfect for video editing. I absolutely love it for everything other than the color. The color is about as color accurate as Instagram was back in 2010. Remember Valencia and Early Bird? Yeah, I do my color grading on my MacBook. Other than that, it is an older monitor, so there is no USB-C straight into the computer, so it does have to plug into HDMI, and I do need to wake up the monitor every time. So this is something I will look to upgrade in the future. I would like to go to an Apple Studio display. I'm just not sure how I would go with a 27-inch. I wish they did like a 32, 34-inch flat screen. That wasn't $1 million. Anyway, on this, I do have Desky's VESA arm, their heavy-duty one for ultra widescreen monitors, which means no matter what angle I'm at, I can move it around, which is absolutely fantastic. And up top, we've got their little light bar. This thing here saves your eyes from the blue light, and it just looks really cool as well when you walk into the dark room and it's just chilling, lighting up the keyboard for you. It's just a little nice touch. And if you want, you can turn it RGB and stuff, but I like to leave it on just normal light. Speaking of RGB lights, Desky has sent me some of those too, which are stuck to the back of the desk and give a little bit of a glow on the wall for me. Anyway, moving on to that stuff down there. So we've got this thing. This is a desk. It's a mini little desk for my hard drives that sits on my desk. It's not a Desky product, it's just a generic acacia thing that looks good. So I like it, whatever. It's completely unnecessary, but it is what it is. This has a little bit of storage, a little shelf in there, which I slide my Loop Deck CT into. And then up top here, we have my LaCie D2 10TB drives. These are one of my backup systems at the moment, but they are not too far away from being replaced. I'm just working out whether I'm going to go for a NAS or I'm going to go for a RAID to save a bit of money. But so that's where my long-term storage and backups currently sit, and then all my SSDs, as you know before, are in the drawer. This is a little Nanlite Parvo bulb under here. Really like that. Just a fun little thing that you can cast a little bit of color into your shot. I've got some little trinkets from when I traveled around the world, some pictures from my engagement party, and down there I've got a plant and a Sonos 5 because I am always listening to music. We have a bunch of Sonos around the house, and I just love walking out of this room and having the same song, the same music just pumping through the whole house. Just is a good way to get into a good vibe, you know what I mean? There are some other customizations I have made to this desk. As a filmmaker, you just have so much stuff that needs to be plugged in at all times. Your drives, your monitors, your laptops, whatever it might be. It does come with some ports built in, but I've stuck some of my own power boards to the desk just to make sure everything I need powered can be constantly powered whenever I need it. Finally, I've got the desk on Desky's caster wheels, which you might think, why would you put a desk on casters when it's just gonna sit in the same place the whole time? Well, for me, filming, I'm constantly moving things around to make sure I can get cameras behind things to get certain angles, and in this video, I've already had to move the desk to get the shot that I wanted. So for me, it makes so much sense. So that's the desk. What about the chair? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is the Secret Labs Titan 2020 in the black soft weave. I've had it for 3 years, I can't fault it. I'm 110 kilos and 6'2". Cradles my body nicely. It can go into all sorts of different scenarios, like a midday nap scenario. You can go into even I might Star Watch mode. Never had to really use those modes, I can't say, but it is a fantastic chair. I've had it for 3 years, $700, very happy with the quality. This chair sits on a battleable gaming mat to make sure the floor stays nice and safe, and I've got a little dog bed there to make sure the dog's always comfortable when I'm doing work. Moving on to the storage and the photo wall. This is the core of all my storage in this room. This is a Daytona tool chest. It's made for sheds, it's made for garages. Now, if I had my time again, would I buy this exact model? Probably not. Now, the reason I probably wouldn't buy this exact one again is the first 3 rows of drawers were all made for spanners lying flat and having different ratchets and socket sets, which means they're actually about that deep. There's not much in the camera industry that fits into a drawer that shallow. So the top 3 drawers of mine are just kind of filled with random knickknacks, and one of them is my tool drawer with my spanners and my wrenches, but the majority of them is just shit shoved in there, to be completely honest. I've got a drawer for things like map boxes and wireless comms. I've got Aquatech in a drawer. I've got an audio drawer. I've got a rigging drawer, which is just any screw or clamp or something that might go onto a rig at some point. And then I've got a big drawer for just bigger items like boxes and stuff like that. But the main one, the main event, is definitely the lens and camera drawer. Now, I used some gym mats that I cut up to make slots for all the different lenses and stuff that I had at the time. Now, would I do this again? No. and here's why. As a camera person, we're constantly buying and selling gear. We're getting different lenses, things that we think we need for a job, and then we realize we don't actually need it, so then we sell it. We get new things all the time. What that means is my custom layout when I started had everything I needed, and since then I've bought new lenses, I've got rid of old things, and now things just don't fit that where they were meant to initially. So I would probably go for more of a generic sort of like cubed off size that can fit most lenses. And what that means is that no matter what you sell and buy, you're always going to have these designated little pouches to put your stuff in. Whereas if you do a custom cutout, once you sell the gear, you've kind of wasted that whole thing. Regardless of that though, my custom homemade little janky gym mat cutout has worked perfectly for the last 3 years. The gym mats are quite grippy, they don't let things rock around too much. It doesn't look fantastic, but it does get the job done. Moving up here to the photo wall, these are all photos I've taken, and they're all printed on Ilford Smooth Pearl on both A3 and A4 paper, and they're just in cheap IKEA frames. These are all printed out from my Epson XP970 printer. It's a fairly cheap, affordable photo printer. I think it cost me about $350, $400, I think at Black Friday last year. It does a pretty good job. It's a little bit darker than you probably think when you're printing a photo. I just kind of bump my photos up a little bit brighter and they come out pretty good. So the printer lives up here. This is on top of another Daytona toolbox. Now, this is just a smaller one made for moving around workshops and stuff like that. But what I do love is that I have a charging drawer. So we drilled a hole in the back of this and ran a power lead in there so I can have all my chargers and bits and pieces out of the way. So you don't have to see the mess. I can just literally chuck things on charge, shut it up, and all of a sudden my room becomes a little bit tidier. So other than being a charging and a printer station, this thing does everything that my business needs. It's a filing cabinet, excess cables, excess stationery, just bits and pieces like that. Like almost any YouTube filmmaker, I love a good practical light and a neon sign. Here's a couple that I've got from Temu, they're like 20 bucks or something like that. Not only do they look good, but it's currently acting as a bit of an edge light, and I've got my trusty Leica sign. One other fantastic thing about the tool chest that I've got, they're all on wheels, just like the desk. So this is probably the 4th iteration of this room that I've had. I've moved things all around. Be able to have things on wheels, you just push it from here to there. So much easier in lifting everything because they are super heavy. Anyway, moving on to the feature wall. So these panels here are the base of the feature wall. I think they look fantastic. They're the lacquered oak finish wooden panels from WOODSPACE. So big shout out to WOODSPACE. They sent me a couple of these to see what I thought. I think they're fantastic. These have a felt backing behind them. So not only do they look good, but they also act as a bit of sound treatment for this room. Helps trapping some of the sounds in here. Just when someone's recording audio all the time like I am, small things like that that look fantastic and help, you know, me do my job. It's just such a help. So I'm a big fan of those. I think they look fantastic. Check out WOODSPACE if you're in Australia and you think you might want some the same. But not only do the panels look good, this is my limited edition Gawx Print. I absolutely love this thing. It's number 72 out of 100 and it's the centerpiece of this room. It looks absolutely fantastic. If you don't know who Gawx is, there's no chance you're watching this video of me and don't know who Gawx is. He's the GOAT of YouTube. Anyway, super honored and proud to have that up there signed, something that I will cherish for a long time to come. Down below here, we have a table that my father-in-law and I kind of made / put together. It's a bit of reclaimed wood he had that we just cut down to size, slapped some legs on, so it's not like we made it. We just cut some wood and screwed some screws in, but I think it looks fantastic. Kind of matches the Desky, and on top we've just got a bit of photo inspiration. We've got some old cameras, we have some photo books here. We've got an Iceland book, we've got a book from Evan Ramp, we've got Memento, and we also have a Red Bull limited edition sports book, which if you like action sports, get one of these. There's some amazing photography in there. And soon there's going to be book 2 from Jared Poland when the Kickstarter finishes. So I was number 8 on that. Can't wait to add that to the collection. And we've got Rosie's Nonna's record player here, which currently has one piece of vinyl. So Hand of Mercy by Resolve is the only music that this thing plays at the moment. So that's today's music suggestion. And down below here is the last bit of in-studio storage. I made sure the legs were far enough apart to fit all my different Pelicans. Let me take you through them. Down below we've got the big boy. This is the Pelican 1650 travel case. I got this secondhand for about 200 bucks, just a shell, and then I put the Pelican dividers in there and a lid organizer. And this goes with me on pretty much every shoot. This is my take-all one-stop shop. Up top we have the carry-on wheeled bag. So this is a cheap one from Tactics. This is just a knockoff Pelican, 100 bucks, does the job. Nothing too fantastic, but if you're really on a budget, much better than having a backpack. This is the expensive one. This is a Pelican 1535 Air. It is so much lighter. It is absolutely fantastic, but it's pretty expensive. I do have another one that's actually coming soon. I've got a Gutech that's not too far off, so pretty keen to do a little comparison of those two, which I'm pretty interested in. Anyway, up here we've got the A and B set of the Blazer Remus Anamorphics. Fresh edition, pretty nice. We've got the DJI LiDAR focus system, and we have another small Pelican back here for my wireless camera control. So I made sure when measuring out where the legs were going to go that I left room for all this sort of stuff to make sure it was still in the room, out the way, and it didn't really take away from the aesthetic and the vibe of the room. In this house, we don't have a ton of storage. All my lights and other hard cases are in other parts of the place, but all this stuff needed to find its way in here, but I didn't want it to be messy, and I wanted this to still act as a functional 360-degree set, which leads me to the next thing, which is the lighting in this space. Now you may have noticed, there's no stands anywhere, and that's because when I designed this, I really wanted it to be intentionally clutter-free, which I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't always happen. I can be messy when I'm preparing or packing down from a shoot, but I wanted this to be as much as possible just a walk-in 360-degree set so I can just sit down, start recording, and just flick a light on. So what I've done, I have got KUPOLES going wall to wall. These have different mounting points on them. I've got Cardellini's, I've got super clamps with spigots, and it means I can move my lights around from spot to spot and have all cables off the floor. Everything's running up the side of the wooden panels, down the KUPOLES. It just is so clean. There is obviously a bit of cable management going on up there, which is less than pretty, but it is a small trade-off to pay to have everything off the floor. For this video though, I have used a C-stand with a roller base from Kupo and a Forza 60 with a 60cm softbox because I wanted to leave all this in place so I could show you physically, so I have had that rolling around, but normally that is not in here and I'm using everything mounted to a KUPOLE. So if you find yourself in a similar situation to me, in a room that's about 4200 by 3800 wide, it's not a big space, it's just a small second bedroom. But if you're a little bit creative, you can actually make this space feel pretty big. I can't stress enough that maybe the most important thing in this whole room is those KUPOLES going from wall to wall, because they just save so much space and so much time in setting things up because my mounting points are already there. I'll try to do it up here. So this light here that's mounted there, that acts as a splash on this wall, but also a hair light when I'm sitting down. There's another mounting point just here. I can take that light off and I can put it up there, and that's a top-down light for anything I'm doing on that workbench there. If I want thumbnails or product shots, wherever it might be, just being able to click it off and click it on, it is such a time save. So if you're a creator and you have a similar space, the most important thing, like so good. Just a note, if you do go wall to wall like I have through the summer and through the winter, buildings expand and contract. So you want to make sure you're readjusting your poles every couple of months, just to make sure they're always at full tension. One thing to note, it'll peel your paint. There's nothing you can do about it. It will peel the paint when you leave it there for a long period of time, but I don't care. For me, these are a permanent fixture, and the $10 can of paint that's going to cost to fix it, more than worth it. For anyone who's wondering what I use for my lighting in this room, now typically I've used the Forza 60 with the 60cm softbox. That has been my go-to for a room this size for a long time. But recently, if you follow the channel, you'd know. I got an Nanolight Parvislim 120C and the 60CL, and they are my lights for pretty much everything in this space now, other than this video where I'm still using the 60. I pair these with a bunch of different Parvo tubes. I've got some 15 CV2s, I've got some 30 CV2s, and I have some 30 CV1s. Now the 30 CV1s are mounted to the side of my desk with some small rig clamps and some Kupo magic arms. I think I will in time screw these into the wall so they can be fixed there, because they kind of gets a little bit dicky when you're putting the desk up and down. The arms tend to bend a bit, but that's something for a later date. I do have the Parvo tubes set up in a fairly permanent position, but I can move them around. Other than the 30 CV ones that are mounted to the side of the desk, I've got some 15Cs, one that sits in the corner of the room, one that sits behind my monitor, and 30 CV2s aren't actually in use this year. The other ones I tend to take out on jobs with me, and I like to leave this room set up fairly permanently. Of course, there are occasions I need more light, so I take it on the job with me, but I like to leave everything fairly set up, and the best thing, it's all controllable via the NanoLink Bluetooth app. This allows me to control all my lights, sit down, play with all my colors, my temperatures, and wherever it might be. Also, just out of frame up here, I do have a Forza 60, which is not Wi-Fi compatible, nor are the 30 CV1s, but they are compatible with a remote that I have, so I control them that way. The Forza 60, that has a snoot on it, and that's normally adding a little bit of splash of light to one of the photos in the background, and these guys here, well, they're just a practical. So that's it for the tour. That is my workspace. I really hope you enjoyed this video and maybe found something that can feel within reach, feels attainable, and it's not that whole warehouse MKBHD thing that is just not realistic for most people like you and myself. So if you're in a small space like this, I hope you can find something that really works for you, and I'll make sure everything is linked in the description, so you can, if you like something, you can pick it up yourself. If you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, I'd really appreciate you hitting subscribe and hitting the like button. That stuff just means the absolute world to us and really helps this video get out to other people. So without further ado, thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Back and I'm better than ever. I think I got a vendetta. Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed.
Something else that's always on my desk is my trusty Yeti water bottle. I've had it for about 6 months. Cannot live without it. Fantastic. Gotta stay hydrated.